It's the backdoor pilot. It's the backdoor pilot. Yo, you have no idea how long I've waited to review a backdoor pilot on this show. Nearly 200 episodes in the can, and I have not yet reviewed a what was I going to say? Okay. Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back if this is your 15th Season 2 episode review for Nancy Drew. It is officially the backdoor pilot episode for Tom Swift. We're here. I'm a little bit more energized than normal, even though I've technically been up since about... I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, and I woke up at 8. And then I was basically at work all day, and you know, I'm just tired. I'm just tired, guys. I'm tired. I'm still here. Still doing the show. Anyway, this week we got to meet our brand new character expanding the Drew Newverse. I think that's what they're officially calling it, or low-key calling it. Hopefully in the future Nancy Drew spin-off, which we may or may not review if we ever get to that point. But we got to meet Tom Swift this week, and I was very... Well, going into this episode, I knew it was a backdoor pilot, so meaning that this was... They were kind of skipping the traditional pilot order and instead using just an episode of Nancy Drew to their advantage. And this episode didn't really advance much on the whole, like, whatever Nancy Drew's currently trying to do storyline-wise. It's mainly like, but like, this was mainly introducing Tom Swift to this, you know, this universe and expanding yet another corner of it. And hopefully down the line we will get to see him again, whether or not that will be in his own show or maybe even in season 3, you know, should that show not get picked up. But overall, I really did enjoy this episode. I think it definitely, once again, like last week's episode, this was another episode where it kind of had to acknowledge what's going on right now in the world, and as well as, you know, dealing with the importance of identity and accepting who you are. And I think Nancy Drew delivered not only a very solid episode of its show, it delivered a pretty good backdoor pilot, which hopefully will be expanded on when hopefully Tom Swift does get picked up the series. Even though freaking CW's got so many shows right now, and I'm just thinking, how the fuck are they gonna do it? It's like, by this point, it's like the CW will probably be airing new content every single week. I'm dead sure they're gonna do that, but whether or not that will be the case, I don't know. We'll figure it out then. Let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about Tom Swift's first episode. So, well, first episode in Nancy Drew, not the first episode. I mean, maybe we will review it. Who knows? I'm not thinking that far ahead because I'm all over the place here, guys. So sorry about that. Anyway, it's another weird day in Horseshoe Bay as Nancy's about to come up to the claw and she sees a bunch of dead seagulls. Ace is there to kind of collect them, and they're kind of like, really, what the heck is going on here? And I think, yeah, so this is where Nick and George show up. Something else is wrong. And then Bess comes in. She also said, like, yeah, the water is, like, you know, really pinkish. Like, something's wrong with the seawater. So everything's kind of all over the place. And Nancy Drew's like, okay, we're dealing with something supernatural. George, get your book of, you know, incantations from your mom, who's still somehow just been strangely absent this entire season. Let's get that book open and just like recite a ritual to like summon the being to us, which doesn't really work because Bess gets the backfire of it, which caused her to get a throwing up spirit to inhabit her body briefly. And I think Nancy needs to, I think George needs to work on her Cantonese more, I think, or what, I forgot what specific language she spoke. Because I don't know what the hell's going on with this town. Everything's just going haywire. There's a lot of weird disturbances. And speaking of weird disturbances, someone does disturb the natural flow of Horseshoe Bay. A nice, elegant-looking man with a lot of very cool technology. That's right, it's Tom Swift, yo. Played by Titan Richards, which the only reason why I know his name, because I don't know why Titan Richards sounds so unique, or like it's so cool, and I would love to name my son something like that, or my daughter, like something cool, something unique. You know, I'm speaking of something like that'll probably happen to me 10 years down the line. But anyway, he shows up. He's looking for Nancy, and Nancy's like, "This is not the right time for you to be meeting me, Mr. Tom Swift, Mr. Swift, Mr." I was gonna make some weird slang joke, but I don't know anything about slang, so I'm gonna shut the hell up before I embarrass myself. They managed to fix up the place. Tom Swift's already using his equipment, his personal AI Jarvis sort of looking buddy robot, whatever the heck the terminology is called. So the reason why he's in town is that he's heard many stories of the famous Nancy Drew of Horseshoe Bay, the private PI who was a freelance, and he wants to hire her for a job. He's in town for a reason. Apparently, a long time ago, there was a meteorite that conveniently landed in Horseshoe Bay, and this meteorite needs to be taken away because if the meteorite is left unchecked, then another meteorite that's going to come to Earth is going to cause some sort of like polarity destruction or something scientific like that, and it's going to basically destroy the whole town. So Nancy has no choice. Like, you know what? This week I was thinking about with the fact that I'm going to become a Hudson pretty soon. I'm going to decide to instead save the town, which is what you always do when you do a backdoor pilot. I want to go on the main plot, but I rather do this side plot that really is just servicing the Tom Swift story than the Nancy Drew story at times. But Nancy agrees, so the two of them head off to the historic society building to look up this meteorite and whatever other details they can gather. Also, George and Nick keep having this banter of like their date night. It's like, Jesus Christ, could you be quiet about date night? It's getting a little bit sickening, if you want to ask me. So I believe, where do we get? Also, we do get like a bit of like a bro scenes between Tom and Nick, and we'll get to that in a moment. But it was nice to see a little bit of this new character kind of vibing well off these already existing characters. It's kind of nice. So Nancy and Tom head over to the Historic Society and find records of this ancient society that had the meteorite at some point, called the what the heck was their name? I forgot what their name was. It was something cool, and something happens in this. I forgot what entirely happened in the chain of events. I don't think we're there yet. So they know that they had the meteorite, and their building was conveniently right close by to Horseshoe Bay. So the two of them head off there, and it's a classic caper, sort of, not caper, but like a classic mystery duo. Like you go this way, I go that way. And we'll try to find some clues. Tom heads down this corridor, which seems like to be a pretty good indication they're close by to where they need to go. But Tom gets this mysterious, energy off this one statue. Turns out not to be a statue; it's just one of the spirits of one of the deceased society members that died there. So he and Nancy quickly escape, while the paranormal spirits are just lingering around. I believe we hit up. Do we have it to the claw? Also, there's another backdrop storyline where Nancy is being hassled by the Ryan's mother, her grandmother, about the impending party that's going to be her big debut as Nancy Hudson, saying goodbye to Nancy Drew, so to speak. So that's going to be happening pretty soon. Hopefully nothing bad happens out of that result. So Nancy has to figure out a dress for herself, and Tom is just conveniently there while they're just waiting around for the next big thing. And it's nice to get a little bit of a bonding scene between Nancy and Tom, because these two characters, they're completely different, but they have similar values and the same heroic aspect they want to do, and they have their own personal missions they want to accomplish for themselves. Also, we do get a little bit of another side tangent. Also, Bess and Ace are mostly supporting this week, mostly so they don't really have anything else going on. But as for George and Nick, Nick is gonna hit a little bit of a weird bump in their relationship, since he kind of wants them to go to the next step by going socially public with their relationship. But since Nick doesn't really have social media per se, for George, who does, it's kind of weird for her not to already posted pictures of the two of them by this point. But George doesn't really give an answer at this moment. So actually, no, I think that was a later scene. Never mind. I'm really jumping ahead here. Eventually the group does meet back at the Claw, and actually there is another side tangent, which I'm not sure how this ties into the main story, because I think Nancy does get a call from Ryan at some point, indicating that he's still spending time with the journalist that was in town before for the fluff piece. So she's still in town. So Nancy's like, are you seriously talking about your love life right now? Like, Taylor, you are my biological dad, and you're telling me about this girl you like, and it's kind of weird. Well, not weird per se, but it's like it's kind of a weird place to put it in, considering the terms of their, father daughter weirdness connection, so to speak, if you know what I mean. Because we do get a funny scene where they have to steal. They don't trust her, so they decide to go steal her laptop from the same hotel building that Ace's, I think, girlfriend works at. So she helps them out, kind of like getting themselves in to get the laptop. So they get that. Nothing's really explored about that till later on, so I'll get to that later. Actually, no, I might as well mention now before I do forget. They're later down towards like around the end of the episode. Ryan does get the emails that like, yeah, she knows that Nancy's his daughter. She's been in contact with his mother, and they are planning something. And her reasoning for that is like, look, I just needed some insurance to protect myself. I wanted to expose the truth and take down Mr. Hudson, the whole thing. And so she has her own agenda. She's desperately trying not to hurt anyone, not even Ryan or Nancy. So she tries to calm him down with that. So I don't exactly know why. I'm pretty sure Tom decides to use his swift inventions. I'm gonna call them that. If we ever go to a show, and then we're gonna review that show, I'm gonna call them the swift inventions. Ooh. So he has a bunch of them. He has this like weird, this like gauntlet that can shoot up projectile. He has this EMP looking device. Where do we? There was another one. There was another thing he used, but none of them all worked. He kept getting pushed back away by the mysterious wind force. So yeah, they don't entirely work as well. I believe so I think after that attempt, I believe we head back to both him and Nancy, Tom head back somewhere, and then we get a scene where George and Nick are. Well, we get another vibing scene off Nick and Tom. I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to these to him. Where they're having another bonding moment, and George asked him like, "Oh, you're acting really friendly around him already. Like you're kind of a little bit different." And Nick's being honest and say, "Look, it's here in Horseshoe Bay. There's not that many black people around. So to have someone that like is my age, is my ethnicity, like it's nice to have like kind of like the commonality and like just be able to vibe off each other, that sort of speak. So I can definitely understand that." So while they're out there, Dana is still helping out on the case. That's when Nick brings up the whole social media aspect and the whole like, it's like she's trying to like keep him like away from the public eye, but George says the only reason why she hasn't put him up there. We'll get to this later, but I'm just gonna like put this in here because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna forget. The only reason she doesn't want him to be on her social media feed is because her grandfather has social media and they follow each other. So if he sees her with him, she's going to assume that there's going to be some big racial argument between them. So she wants to avoid that at all costs, which is kind of understanding as well, but also as well as, not fair to Nick because, he's happy with her and he wants the world to know of that happiness. And, she doesn't want to per se. So yeah, that's the only weird snag between them kind of currently. Eventually, the polarity, the disruptions that the meteorites are causing with one another are sadly becoming more intensified and sporadic. So everyone decides to head to the back to that society's base to go and find this device. The other meteorite that's on the ground already. And I don't exactly remember how the heck they got through that hallway of like presence, spiritual paranormal presence, but they did. They managed to get through and get to the centerpiece room, as I'll call it. And they find the meteorite underneath everything, but there's a kind of like a latch they have to open up or something of that nature. Bess decides to open it up pretty quickly, but however, it turns out that some gas leaks out and it affects her. Then she turns all barbaric, grabs a sword. She doesn't cut off Nick's arm, but she kind of grazes it. So it's like, oof. This is not Nick's best day, to be honest with you. So they decide to leave Bess there while they try to figure out how to counteract it. They get back to the claw, and Nancy brings up like that gas was very similar to another gas that we took on earlier, whether or not that was season 1 or earlier this season. My brain is tired. We're already past the halfway mark. I'm pretty much slowly dying over here, guys. I'm just being honest with you on that. So I believe from there was So I think Nancy and Tom do have another scene in a van. So I don't know where the hell they were traveling, and Tom's kind of giving his his obviously his origin story, like why is he doing what he's doing, that sort of thing, and he's being honest with Nancy that he wants to impress his father. He wants his father to know him as just the inventor of stuff, than to be his, and I quote his line, not mine, his gay disappointment. So if he could prove that if I could take my dad to Saturn, it would be enough for him to like just see me as his son, his successful son, than the other terminology I just threw out. So, damn, yeah, I think then Tom just gets motivation. And yeah, there's a weird thing where like he takes off his shirt, puts on this like very fur coat. Like I want that fur coat badly. It's really cool. I want it badly. And he's just trying not to look at him. And obviously nothing was gonna happen since Tom doesn't roll like that. But it was kind of nice for Nancy to like give a little bit of like a little peek show here, a little peek show. So Tom manages to whip up another device. I'm trying to remember if we do get another scene elsewhere. I don't think we do, on the top of my head. So they all head back to the play. Well, no, everyone except George and Nick. I think they stay behind because of his injury. So it's just, and I don't even know where the hell Ace. Oh no, yeah, Ace is with them. I forgot. So they find out the door's open. So Bess is out perusing somewhere around this base. So Ace decides to go look for her while Nancy and Tom decide to go and get this meteorite off the ground. So they go do that. It's kind of pretty self-explanatory, so to speak, combining both the technological side of solving this case and the supernatural side of solving this case. So it's like peanut butter jelly. Even though I don't like peanut butter jelly, so be honest there. So Nick does find Bess wandering around the place with a sword, and he has no choice. He has to take her out. She's under the influence. There doesn't seem to be any sort of like real way to like get her out of it right now, so he has to kind of like take her down. So a mini sort of epic fight, it's sword fight ensues between them. It was pretty hilarious to watch it. And then I believe from there, Nancy completes her side of the thing. So the meteorite's completely now null and free. Bess is back to normal. Ace is kind of on the ground, like pandering, surviving for his life. But they got the meteorite, so now they can like actually move forward with things. So they head back to the Claw, where I believe they're still gathering research, or just they're still talking about it. And Tom's obviously happy that he's not going to be able to give his dad the what he wants in life, like, by taking him up to Saturn, to space, and prove all that sorts. Damn, I completely forgot what the heck happened there. Because I'm trying to remember like correctly. Like I know that eventually, no, we haven't gotten there yet. So now that the meteorite's in their hands, I almost forgot. So the one thing they're all noticing is that this society that kind of like we supposedly went out of extinction, since their base was kind of completely empty and abandoned. Apparently there was 10 founders of this organization, and when they were looking at the photos earlier at the restaurant, Nick only noticed that there was 8 of them. So that means 2 survived the whole thing, and they actually started a whole nother group which has already been plaguing Nancy and her gang for quite a while now, including but not limited to Ace's brother and his mother being in protective custody. The logo mysteriously popping up all around town. So it seems like their presence is about to be made known at some point in the future. They're going to come out. What they're going to bring, I really don't know. We'll see what happens there. I believe Tom is about to head out. He locks the meteorite in like this radiation-proof... Did I lose the mic? No, I didn't. This radiation-proof container to take back to wherever the hell he came from. I forgot where he came from, to be honest with you. So they're wrapping that up there. And they kind of exchange advice, like, like he wants to be more open and just, be himself more, while Nancy kind of has to learn how to, like, at times protect herself and, keep being herself, but also being very protectful, because she doesn't know what enemy she's going to make next, and that's obviously true. Then I believe, so Tom decides then and there, like, you know what? I'm going to announce to the world I'm gay. And he decides, like, I need a good-looking partner who can give me a pretty good kiss. And Nick is that person. And so Nick's like, you know what? I'll do it. This guy's a nice dude. I'm not gonna leave George. I'll just do I'll do the kiss. The kiss lasted a little bit longer than what I was expecting, but like, okay, that's perfectly fine. That was enough to make George jealous over the comment feeds coming up with that post. So she decides to finally start taking selfies with Nick to kind of retaliate as a response. Tom gives Nancy one last gift, which is a dress that he wants her to wear during the Hudson party that's coming up pretty soon. So at least as her form of armor to protect herself from just anything. That Nancy Drew is still here, but for a while there's going to be Nancy Hudson on the side. So a little bit of a reminder. So smart boy that Tom is. Tom does get a call from his dad. And however he manages to kind of deter any sort of arguments or any sort of like negative comments by just telling him, "I got the meteorite. We're going to the moon, Dad. Just get ready." Which I'm like, oh, and then he just drives off in his like futuristic smart car, and I'm like, dude, this guy is so lucky. He really is. So even after getting the dress, they decide to go back to the claw as Nancy kind of laments that this will probably be her final day being Nancy Drew proper. And I believe that covers all the bases. Yeah, so I think, that was it. But yeah, overall, I really did enjoy this episode. I think this was yet again another solid episode of Nancy Drew, and especially a pretty damn great Tom Swift backdoor pilot. So I cannot wait to see whether or not the CW will be picking up his show for a full go around. It'll be fun because it'll be fun to expand another universe that isn't All American or freaking Archie and all that stuff. Like, I'm a little bit tired of that. So let's get some Nancy Drew action going here. Let's get that going. So again, I think Tanya Richards. What's that the name? Oh damn, I forgot the name again. Oh my god, my freaking mind is horrible. But I believe that's Tanya Richards. Damn this yawn. I wish we live in a world where yawns don't exist, to be honest with you. But anyway. He did a solid performance as Tom Swift. I can't wait to see him do more, hopefully down the line, or hopefully in his own show, so to speak. I like that George and Nick are going through classic couple problems or couple disputes, and they're finding their way out of it. There's nothing progressively bad is happening yet, and I actually really do enjoy it. And this being Nancy's, kind of like this is kind of like not the beginning of the end of this. Yeah, this is the beginning of the end of the season. So whether or not how Nancy's going to survive becoming Nancy Hudson just to take down Everett, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. There's a lot of questions to be answered there, but at least for now, I think this was a solid episode. I think this was a pretty great backdoor pilot. I can't wait to see hopefully more of this character in the future, and I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up as a result, so go watch it. I think that's going to do it for me today, everyone, because I'm starting to get a little bit delirious. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the second season of Nancy Drew. If you want to see more of that, as well as our other works, we're also doing Walker episode reviews each and every Friday mornings after a brand new episode on Thursday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. This Saturday morning, we are starting up our High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 2 episode reviews. One every week, every Saturday morning, because we've waited long enough. Also, last week I did High School Musical 3 senior year. Go check that out if you want to go hear my thoughts on that movie in like 12, 13 years after I first saw it in theaters. And then on Mondays, you can catch the Rookie episode reviews each and every Monday morning. Sorry, I messed up the rigmarole so hard. And then it's also for on Hulu the next day after its premiere on Sunday nights on ABC. But if you don't care about Nancy Drew, you're in luck. We'll be back next week as we approach the end. I believe we have 3 more episodes left this season. So after those 3 episodes are done, we're going into a season 2 overall review. No spoilers. That's meant for anyone who has yet to begin the Nancy Drew season 2 binge train. And then the next week after that, we will be talking about what I hope to see in season 3 proper. So that's all that's going on right now. So again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to ActionX on youtube.com/ActionX. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode review is live, which is normally every Thursday mornings. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to. It helps us get us out there to other fans of the hashtag Drew Crew movement. It helps us beat up that YouTube algorithm, and sharing is always for free. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of stuff for the channel. And as for all you members of the hashtag Drew Crew fandom, I'll see you all next week for the next episode review. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode? Do you like Tom Swift? Do you like the energy he brings? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always down for conversation there. But until then, until next time, I want everyone to stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.